Hello, everyone. This is Mystic Veteran, bringing you this week's Oracle energy reading. Sorry, I kind of got off to a late start, but it's still Monday, so might as well just record it now. Decided to do something a little bit different. I pulled some cards from my Rebel deck. Oracle game. The game, not the actual Oracle deck itself. This is a game based on the deck. And I pulled out one scenario card and 3 answers, and I'll go over that. Then I pulled 3 cards for the beginning, middle, and end of the week from my Goddesses and Sirens deck by Stacey DeMarco. So let me start off with these cards. So the scenario I got for this week is, stop messing with it. Let's celebrate me, but blank has to happen before the party starts. So here in the video, you get a chance to pause and select which one. So you have 1 answer, 2 answer, and number 3 answer. If you chose the first answer, primal screaming. Let's celebrate me, but primal screaming has to happen before the party starts. Well, that sounds kind of interesting. So maybe that's good. Kind of get it all out. Go out in the woods and do that, but don't do it in your neighborhood because you might get the cops called on you. If you chose number 2, doing the one thing I've been avoiding. Oh, so it says, let's celebrate me, but doing the one thing I have been avoiding has to happen before the party starts. So whatever that is, whatever you've been procrastinating, you might want to do that first before you start celebrating yourself. If you chose number 3, baby animal videos. This is so funny because this usually always pops up. I don't know why. Every single time I do this, there's always a mention of baby animal videos. So let's celebrate me, but baby animal videos has to happen before the party starts. Well, if you're feeling kind of down, sometimes baby animal videos do help. So those are your answers. Whichever you chose. 1 was primal screaming. Answer 2, doing the one thing I've been avoiding. And number 3, baby animal videos. Now, moving on. Put these aside. So, the first 2 are reversed, and that's not always a bad thing. Sometimes there's a lesson in that. So the first one, I will flip it over, is Jeanne d'Arc, which is basically French for Joan of Arc. And I will look her up, and I'll give you a brief description. And it says faith. Let's see. Joan of Arc. Oh, there she is. Oh, what's this? IJ, I gotta go. I think I keep skipping it somehow. Oh, there it is. Alright, faith. So, sorry if it gets a little blurry. It's trying to adjust. Hold on to your dreams even through adversity. Develop faith in yourself and in a spiritual power. Trust is important. You must trust your own leadership abilities or improve them. Be not afraid. You were born for this. Well, as we know, Joan of Arc is one of history's greatest women. According to eyewitness accounts, court documents, and letters written by Joan herself, she's a heroine of France, a Catholic saint, a symbol against political repression, and an inspiration to the women the world over. Part of the magic of Joan is that she was a country peasant girl born in 1412, into a society that was patriarchal and very hierarchical. The daughter of ordinary people, she claimed to have been receiving divine visits from Archangel Michael, Saint Margaret, and Saint Catherine since she was a child. In the midst of a 100 Years' War, two French factions, the Armagnacs and the butchering these, were fighting for control over the throne. English invaders backed the Burgundians, took advantage of this chaos and captured many French towns, including Orleans. Joan's vision told her to lift the siege of Orleans and to take Dauphin, the uncrowned Charles the Seventh, to Rheims for his coronation. She managed to get access to Lord Robert de Baudricourt and convinced him to take her to the Dauphin. She famously cut off her long hair and dressed in a male page clothes for the journey so that she would not be conspicuous during the long ride. The Dauphin was sufficiently impressed and insisted that this high-ranking theologians and inquisitors examine Joan. All deemed that there was nothing improper about her. She was a good, humble, chaste, and pious. And so Charles raised an army, and Joan rode with him to Orleans, where a series of mighty victories encouraged a campaign that quickly put Charles on the throne. Dressed in shining armor, riding a battle horse, and carrying her battle standard, teenage Joan inspired and rallied against everyone in the battlefield. She saw her strength and conviction in her communications to her enemy. Her second letter to the English in 1429 stated, "My lord commands you to go back to your own land, for it's his will, or otherwise I will cause such a disaster for you." Joan was incredibly intelligent and inspiring, but the trial transcripts from when the English captured her and accused her of heresy made for sobering reading. They attacked everything from her visions to her loyalty and even her hairstyle and clothes. Her answers were those of an aware and astute young woman. Her faith in herself and her God shone through in the face of hostile clergy, barrage of lawmakers, and death itself. When she was convicted of heresy, this was only a crime if it was repeated. One of the stipulations of Joan's reform was that only she dressed in feminine clothing. Still in prison, she complained that she was a victim of attempted rape and decided to dress in men's clothing for her own protection. This was enough to condemn her and burn her at the stake simply for dressing in men's clothes. Eyewitness accounts say she held on to her faith until the end and asked clergymen to hold up a cross so she could see it as she burned. 1456, she was absolved of all her crimes. The Catholic Church made Joan of Arc a saint in 1920. Her statues are all over France, but the most famous rests in the beautiful Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. So, since it was in the reverse, this is the beginning of the week. This is the shadow side. Sometimes having a rigid, blind faith does not serve us. While it is important to hold on to our dreams and intentions and to focus on the outcome, to do this without taking note of what is happening around us can be folly. Joan was eventually put to death for technicality. She was perhaps unaware of the implications of some of her actions. When our actions go against sound advice from other corners, we are well advised to carefully think through what we should do as opposed to forging ahead without consideration. And our symbols are maiden on a horseback dressed in armor, halo, battle standard, French colors, blue, white, and red. It has a little invocation to her, but I'm not going to read that. So, next one is kind of interesting. Sheila na Gig. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Gateways. Sheila na Gig. Sorry, it's a little using my phone. I apologize. It's all over the place. A new path opens to you and you are protected. A rite of passage is close. You're about to pass through a new gateway that will change you. Do not be afraid to open up. Sheila Nagig is a cheeky, irreverent, and somewhat frightening. She may lead you astray, but she is one of the oldest energies of the Celtic lands. A crone goddess, Sheila Nagig is depicted as a woman showing her genitals and is most likely to appear upon gateways, windows, and doorposts. Although some depictions are a little confrontational at first glance, Sheilas are as the carvings are affectionately referred to, are commonplace on sacred buildings throughout Ireland and England. Sheila Nagig is a protectress of gateways, with the female genitalia being the primary gateway, that of all life. While there is some conjecture about the full function, magical or otherwise, of the carved Sheilas, she is generally thought to serve as protection, scaring away evil spirits or bringing good luck during birth. When you're about to pass through a gateway such as graduation, a birthday, a rite of passage, or even a real gateway in a new home or school, you may wish to honor Sheila and ask for her protection. This is an old, powerful, magical energy, and such is very effective. Her energy is jolly and, yes, a little wild, but always with a positive intent. So, since it was reversed, her shadow side says a Christianized interpretation of Sheila Nagig unfortunately says her image was used as a warning against relationships out of wedlock, a shocking thing during medieval times, instead of her positive intent to help people through the important gateways of their lives. This was a misunderstanding of the ancient symbol, and now happily, many modern people in Britain and Ireland hold major life celebrations like weddings and baby names near these Sheila stones. Her symbols are dancing woman with wild hair, woman with legs open, gateways, and stones. And she also has an invocation. And then next, we have, right side up, Helen of Troy, beauty. I'm not really going to read too much about her. From basically, she comes from the story where it says her face launched 1,000 ships, meaning a war was started over her. But I guess I can kind of do a background on her real quick. Recognize your own unique beauty. Stop comparing yourself to others. Real beauty is important, or is apparent, in all cultures and in all ages. Beauty should not be used as a weapon. If a siren is a woman who tempts or draws people toward her, one of history's most powerful sirens would have to be the face that launched 1,000 ships, like I just said. Helen of Troy. There are few people who are not aware of the legend of Helen of Troy. The whole of Greece gathered a massive force to bring her home from the arms of the Trojan prince, Paris, to her rightful husband, Menelaus, I can't say it. The dire, bloodthirsty war, the fate of Achilles, the vengeful fall of Troy because of the wooden horse full of Greek soldiers. They all fall blame upon Helen's head. If I could turn this silly page. Okay. Before she became Helen of Troy, she was Helen of Sparta, a princess of the most powerful military city of the day. It was said that Helen was the daughter of Zeus and Leda, the wife of the Spartan king Tyndareus. Helen was born from a giant egg, as Zeus seduced Leda in the guise of a swan. Although mortal, Helen was gifted with the otherworldly beauty of a goddess. She was brought up as a Spartan woman, athletic, strong, and opinionated. This combination, her beauty and a sense of spiritness, made her a fatal temptation for men all through her life. According to ancient sources, when Helen was young, the Athenian Theseus kidnapped her, entranced by the idea she was a goddess, as well as by her unique beauty. This abduction prompted Sparta to invade Athens, resulting in such bloodshed. Helen's brothers, Castor and Pollux, returned her safely to their home, but after that she was virtually a prisoner of her own beauty until her mortal father deemed it time for a strategic marriage. Real beauty is hypnotic. Yet in reality, beauty has less to do with looking a specific way and more to do with the spirit coming through. The word charisma comes from the Greek chariz and ma, meaning the spirit shining through. Each of us possesses a unique beauty, one that gives us confidence when we recognize it. Each of us is desirable, perfectly formed to be what we want to be. Should we become too obsessed by the external, something that is, after all, ever-changing, we may become just as imprisoned as beauteous Helen was. And her symbols are beautiful woman, hand mirror, ships, and Trojan horse. So, sum it all up. Beginning, we should have faith, but not be so blind to it that we do not see what's going on around us. Be open-minded, I think. Have a little faith that everything will end smoothly, because we are still in the middle of Mercury retrograde, so that was probably why it was reversed. It's because everyone's losing faith because we're in the middle of Mercury retrograde. But try to keep the faith during Mercury retrograde. Whatever faith that is, whatever religion you believe in, or spirituality. But don't be so blind to it that you stay closed-minded and that you become unaware of what's going on around you. So be aware and keep the faith. Middle of the week, Sheila and the gig, gateways. So the shadow side was a little confusing. So I think it basically meant misunderstandings. It was reversed. So that means there may be some misunderstandings in the middle of this week. But don't worry, because even though it's Mercury retrograde, it will pass. There's a lot of communication misunderstandings going on. People may misunderstand you in the middle of the week. May not be intentional. Might be accidental. Maybe somebody said something over text and you kind of misconstrued it. Or somebody said something on the phone and you got confused at what they were trying to say or what they meant. Just basically, don't let that change you. Misunderstandings happen, especially Mercury retrograde. So you're about to go through some kind of change middle of this week. It's coming up, if not now already. So try not to let anything get misunderstood while you're changing, because during change, things can get confusing. So whatever that gateway is, that change, that thing that's happening in your life, just kind of go with the flow and, don't let anyone get confused by what's going on. So that will blow over, obviously. And then Helen of Troy. End of the week, we end in beauty on a positive note. So obviously, people started wars over her external beauty, but that really shouldn't be the case. People shouldn't see beauty. This is upright, so they're saying that beauty is more than skin deep. And there shouldn't be any kind of, war about it. It may not be physical wars. It may be like an emotional war within yourself. And you're starting to learn at the end of this week that beauty is only skin deep. And that you're beautiful on the inside as well as the outside. And whatever's inside shines through, as I was explaining. So, end of this week may be a positive thing as we near towards the end of Mercury retrograde, which is March 10th. And so this week will be end of the week. As it winds down, it'll be March 6th, and then Saturday 7th, 8th. So next Tuesday, Mercury goes direct. So we're starting to go towards the end of Mercury retrograde. It's starting to come direct again. So maybe you're starting to see the beauty in things that others don't. And this is a good thing. So yeah, see beauty in other things and other people. Don't be looking at them. It's not a competition. Like she said, it's not to be used as a weapon. Just because you're beautiful does not mean you use it against other people to hurt them. Say, oh, well, I'm prettier than you, blah, blah, blah. Or my artwork's better than yours, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Beauty is subjective. Everyone has their own standards of beauty, on the outside at least. But beauty comes from the inside. And if, you're not happy with your outside, that's an inner struggle. That's not because of what other people think about you. You have to be happy with with how you look on the inside, so that it's reflected on the outside. But anyway, so have faith. Avoid misunderstandings. Accept the change coming, and knowing that you are beautiful inside and out. So I hope that helped. Hope that resonated with you guys. That's the energy for this week. Please like and subscribe and thumbs up if you wish. And if it did resonate you, please tell me in the comments below. I hope you have a good one.